Gone Girl, 2014. Everyone remembers the twist, the media frenzy, the cool girl monologue, but nobody talks about the clinical precision, the frame-by-frame manipulation architecture. That makes Amy Dunne a textbook case study in antisocial personality disorder with narcissistic features. This isn't film criticism, this is forensic psychology. 4 scenes, 12 minutes. Let's dissect how manipulation actually works. Scene 1, the diary. Amy writes, "I feel like something terrible is going to happen." Present tense, active voice, immediate threat. But here's the tell, she's writing about the future, in a diary. Diaries document the past. She's not recording experience. She's creating evidence. Watch her hand. The pen pressure, light, consistent, no variation. That's not emotional writing. That's transcription. She's copying from a draft. Clinical term, evidence architecture. She's not manipulating Nick. Not yet. She's manipulating the future investigation, 6 months before it exists. Real emotional writing has pressure variation. Anxiety increases pen pressure by 40 to 60%. Depression decreases it. Anger creates jagged baselines. Amy's handwriting? Perfectly consistent. 2mm letter height, 15-degree slant, uniform spacing. That's practiced, rehearsed, controlled. She's not having an emotion, she's performing one, for an audience that doesn't exist yet. Now listen to the language. Something terrible is going to happen. Not might happen, not could happen, is going to happen. Declarative, certain, prophetic. That's not fear, that's a script. She's writing the narrative she'll need. When Nick becomes the suspect, she's planting reasonable doubt in ink 6 months early. And here's the clinical marker, she uses something instead of specifics. Vague enough to fit any scenario, specific enough to sound authentic. That's not anxiety, that's strategic ambiguity. Scene 2, the anniversary hunt. Nick finds the first clue, the woodshed, his father's old house, the place he told Amy he'd never take her. Everyone sees the romantic callback, the treasure hunt tradition, the loving wife trying to reconnect. But watch what happens. Nick opens the envelope, reads the clue, and his face changes for 0.8 seconds before he controls it. That's not confusion, that's recognition. He knows she knows about the affair, about Andy, and she's telling him she knows through a game. The clue reads, "I'm in the place where you first took me, where you showed me your true self." Surface level, romantic, the woodshed, their history. Clinical level, threat. I know your true self. I know what you're hiding, and I'm documenting it. This is what's called a double bind in manipulation theory. Every clue is both a love letter and a confession. If Nick plays along, he's complicit. If he refuses, he's suspicious. She's not creating a treasure hunt, she's creating a paper trail. And here's where it gets clinical. This is textbook Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Deny, I'm the loving wife planning an anniversary surprise. Attack, you're the one hiding secrets. Reverse, when I disappear, you're the villain. I'm the victim. But she's doing it in advance. Before the accusation exists, she's preloading the narrative, so when the police investigate, they find evidence of a loving wife and a suspicious husband. That's not reactive manipulation, that's architectural manipulation. She's building the crime scene before the crime. I just used the word architectural 3 times in 5 minutes. That's intentional, because that's what this is, architecture. Most people think manipulation is emotional, impulsive, heat of the moment. Clinical manipulation is the opposite. It's cold, calculated, built in layers, like a building, foundation, framework, facade. Amy isn't reacting to Nick's affair, she's constructing a response, brick by brick, clue by clue, entry by entry, and Fincher films it like a blueprint. Think of it like an iceberg. What the audience sees, a thriller about a missing wife. What critics see, a commentary on marriage and media. What's actually there? A clinical demonstration of antisocial personality disorder in action. The tell is in the architecture. Amy doesn't have emotions, she has strategies. She doesn't have reactions, she has contingencies. And every frame Fincher shoots is showing you the blueprint if you know what to look for. 2 scenes down, 2 more to go, and we haven't even gotten to the return yet. The doorway, the blood, the micro-expression that everyone misses. But before we go there, we need to understand the pattern, because Amy doesn't improvise, she executes. And the execution is in the details. Scene 4, the return. Everyone sees the blood, the cameras, the spectacle, but watch the 3 seconds before she crosses the threshold. Second 1, she scans the room, left to right. Second 2, her eyes lock on Nick's position. Second 3, micro-expression, 0.4 seconds. That's not relief, that's not trauma, that's satisfaction. She's smiling for 0.4 seconds before she remembers the cameras are watching. But here's what makes this clinical mastery. She planned the lighting. She arrives at dusk, not morning, not afternoon, dusk, when the sun is low enough to backlight her from behind, creating a halo effect for the cameras. Golden hour is 7:23 p.m. Amy's arrival, 7:19, 4 minutes before optimal lighting ends. That's not coincidence, that's cinematography. She's not entering a house, she's entering a frame. And she knows exactly who's watching. 12 witnesses, 4 cameras. Detective Boney positioned at 10 o'clock from the entrance. Amy doesn't look at Nick first, she looks at Boney for 1.2 seconds. That's not instinct, that's strategy. She's confirming her primary audience, the one who can close the case, the one who needs to believe her most. Scene 5, the final conversation. Nick finally understands. He's trapped. And Amy delivers the line everyone quotes, "I'm the cunt you married."
Oh, cunt. I'm the cunt you married.
But that's not the manipulation. That's the reveal. The manipulation happened 6 seconds earlier, in silence. Watch her body language. Palms up. Vulnerability signal. Shoulders dropped. Submission cue. Head tilt, 15 degrees. Appeasement gesture. Sustained eye contact. Intimacy bid. She's performing vulnerability for 6 seconds to lower his defenses. Then she delivers the line. After his guard is down. This is the Darvo endgame. Deny, I never wanted to hurt you. Attack, you made me do this. Reverse, I'm protecting our family now. But she adds a 4th layer nobody talks about. Bind. You can't leave without destroying yourself. She doesn't just reverse victim and offender. She makes Nick complicit. The pregnancy, the media narrative, the public sympathy. He can't expose her without exposing himself. The tell is in the architecture. She's not manipulating him. She's manipulating his options. 5 scenes, 4.5 minutes, 1 pattern emerging. But here's what nobody's asking. Why does this work? Why do we believe Amy, even when we know she's lying? Amy doesn't manipulate in the moment. She manipulates in layers. Past, present, future. The diary manipulates the past, creates false history. The treasure hunt manipulates the present, controls the narrative. The return manipulates the future, locks in the outcome. That's not emotional manipulation, that's temporal manipulation. She's not reacting to Nick, she's rewriting the timeline. And here's the clinical term, narrative control. She doesn't change what happened, she changes what people believe happened. So, what is this clinically? Antisocial personality disorder, lack of empathy, disregard for social norms, manipulative behavior, narcissistic features, grandiosity, need for admiration, exploitation of others. But there's a 3rd layer most people miss, Machiavellian intelligence, the ability to model other people's mental states, to predict their reactions, to architect outcomes 3 moves ahead. Amy doesn't just lie, she builds systems of lies, self-reinforcing, self-protecting, self-perpetuating. And Fincher shows you this in every frame. The symmetry, the precision, the cold color palette, the architectural compositions. He's not filming a thriller, he's filming a blueprint. Every shot is a schematic, every scene is a system. The tell is in the visual language. Fincher doesn't use handheld cameras, doesn't use natural lighting, doesn't use improvisation. Because Amy doesn't improvise. She executes. And the film's visual grammar mirrors her psychological grammar. Here's the part nobody wants to hear. This works in real life. Not the murder, not the framing, but the architecture, the narrative control, the temporal manipulation. Clinical manipulators don't look like movie villains. They look like victims. They sound reasonable. They have evidence. And by the time you realize what's happening, they've already rewritten the story, with you as the antagonist. The tell is always the same. Too much documentation, too much consistency, too much control. Real victims have gaps, inconsistencies, emotional variation. Manipulators have perfect narratives, rehearsed timelines, strategic evidence. This is what the prism does. We don't review movies. We dissect the gap between what's on screen and what's underneath. Gone Girl isn't about a psychopath, it's about how psychopathy actually functions. Frame by frame, layer by layer, system by system. Most people see the twist, we see the architecture. Most people see the performance, we see the clinical accuracy. Most people see the thriller, we see the textbook. Remember the beginning? The diary scene? Go back and watch it now with what you know. Watch the pen pressure, the linguistic choices, the evidence architecture. It's all there, in the first frame. Fincher shows you the entire system in 30 seconds. This is why Gone Girl is the most clinically accurate depiction of that architecture ever put on film. Not because it's realistic, but because it's systematic. Amy Dunne isn't a character, she's a case study. And Fincher didn't direct the thriller, he filmed a diagnostic manual. This is the prism. We dissect what you miss. Subscribe if you want the uncomfortable truth. Leave if you want entertainment. We'll be here either way.